It begins with a ripple, maybe a faint commotion near the shallow end. A lifeguard's whistle pierces the air, and the crowd starts to murmur. Parents gather towels. Children climb out reluctantly. There's no thunderstorm, no power outage, no chemical imbalance. No, it's something far more primal, far more disruptive to the delicate order of poolside civilization. Someone pooped in the water. You wouldn't think a single fecal incident could shut down a chlorinated, heavily filtered aquatic system designed to handle the bodily residue of hundreds of humans. And yet it absolutely can. The reality is that when a pool closes due to a fecal incident, it's not just for optics or overreaction. It's because public health demands it. And no, it's not rare. In fact, it happens with a frequency that should make you deeply reconsider your next cannonball. When someone loses control of their bowels in the water, whether it's a toddler in a sagging swim diaper, a newly potty-trained child who misjudged their timing, or the occasional unfortunate adult with poor judgment or questionable burrito choices, that event changes everything about the pool's chemistry. You're not just dealing with the visible intruder bobbing on the surface. You're dealing with what might be in it: Cryptosporidium, Giardia, E. coli, and a host of other microscopic nasties that aren't just gross, they're dangerous. Take Cryptosporidium, for example. It's the MVP of recreational water illnesses, a parasite that shrugs off chlorine like it's wearing a tiny biohazard suit. It can survive for over a week in a properly chlorinated pool. One person infected with it can shed millions of spores, and it only takes a handful to infect another swimmer. It causes diarrhea, cramping, vomiting, and often an existential crisis in anyone unlucky enough to catch it. So when even a hint of diarrhea enters the pool water, the situation escalates from unpleasant to full-scale biohazard mitigation. Pool staff don't just skim out the offending item and toss in an extra chlorine tablet. They follow rigorous CDC guidelines, which vary depending on the nature of the fecal material. A formed stool, solid and mercifully self-contained, is considered less dangerous and can be handled with increased chlorination and a 30-minute shutdown. But diarrhea is an entirely different beast. Pools must undergo hyperchlorination, raising chlorine levels to the point where it can finally inactivate crypto, and then holding those levels for several hours, sometimes overnight. Filters must be flushed. Logs must be kept. People must be turned away. No one wins. The disruption is immediate. Birthday parties canceled. Swim lessons rescheduled. Lap swimmers disgruntled. And always someone at the front desk trying to explain diplomatically that no, the pool is not open for just a quick dip, because they're currently dealing with what could only be described as an aquatic code brown. It is one of the few events that can turn a community pool from a haven of joy to a scene of quiet chemical warfare. All of this, by the way, is usually preventable. Public pools ask patrons to shower before entering not because they're trying to be annoying, but because sweat, oils, urine, and yes, fecal matter all degrade the water's quality and make it harder for chlorine to do its job. Bathroom breaks every hour? Also not a joke. Swim diapers? Better than nothing, but not magical force fields. They leak, and the illusion that they're fully secure is exactly what gets us into trouble. Ultimately, the public pool is a shared microbial ecosystem, a delicate balance of trust, hygiene, chemistry, and civic cooperation. When one person forgets this balance, or assumes the rules don't apply to them, it's not just a moment of embarrassment. It's a ripple effect that impacts dozens or hundreds of others. It wastes resources, chemicals, labor, and time. And worst of all, it shakes confidence in the safety of public recreation. So next time you're at the pool, spare a thought for the staff who have to deal with these events like first responders in flip-flops. Be part of the solution. Shower, follow the rules, and for the love of chlorine, if something doesn't feel right, do not get in the water. Because once it's out there, it's everybody's problem.